Joe Biden continues his war on this country, putting green policies before the needs of the American people. Let's bring in South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem to react, tell us a story. Governor, thank you so much. She's also, by the way, the author of the new book, Not My First Rodeo, and we know that, Lessons from the Heartland. Governor, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on the new book. The tour looks like it's going great. We'll get to a lot of the stuff. But the first thing, I just did a monologue on, I spent 15 years trading commodities. I know the commodity world inside out. I know the pork bellies. I know about corn, wheat, soybeans. I know about energy commodities. I know about platinum. I'm very concerned that the likes of George Soros of the world and Bill Gates are buying so much farmland, including in your state, South Dakota. What are your thoughts on our food security in America right now?
Well, I've been talking about this for 15 years, Eric, and I appreciate you focusing on this. That our food supply is our national security policy. It just is. For years I've been watching, our foreign countries, other entities that are not friends of the United States, buy up our fertilizer companies, our chemical companies, our processing systems, and those entities. Now we see other people buying hundreds of thousands of acres of land. And listen, many times it is foreign entities in some of these states as well. So we have countries like China that own all these different pieces, and they're not dummies. They know that when they control our food supply, they control us. So this is a national security policy issue that the American people need to be aware of. And we've always had in the United States of America a priority of keeping a safe and an affordable food supply that's diversified so one person or one country doesn't control it. We are losing that. We're losing that on Joe Biden's watch, and it is a concern for us, a country, and for those families out there that are looking to feed their kids every week when they go to the grocery store.
Oddly, you bring that up, the sale of some of our food processors. The largest pork processor in the world, Smithfield Foods, was purchased by China when? In the Barack Obama, Joe Biden administration. They let that go down. Now, a couple years later, this was about 2014 or so, a couple years later, there's a global pandemic. And guess where that pork product goes? It doesn't go to the American tables for breakfast, bacon. It goes back to China. It's incredible.
It does,
so they're buying our land. They're buying our processors. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, but even during COVID, everybody heard about the meat processing facility I had in South Dakota that was so hard to work with, that it was a hot spot. That was a Smithfield facility, and they were very difficult to work with because they weren't American owned. They were owned by a Chinese company that made decisions that weren't best for their workers necessarily at the right time. They didn't work with me very well. We had a bit of a contentious relationship because of some of their decisions. And I believe it was because they weren't living in our communities and living the life that we live and really love America and the freedoms that we were embracing. So there's consequences on many levels to allowing these types of entities in these countries buy our food supply chain. When they control our food, they will control us.
It is. It is. You control our food. You control our energy supply as well, which we're trying to hand over to Middle Eastern countries that hate us, and they control everything we do. Governor, switching topics a little bit. You're on a book tour, and congratulations. Coincidentally, simultaneously, this Roe decision came down from the Supreme Court. You were on a lot of shows. A lot of people were. I watched you with Dana Bash over at CNN, and I thought it was very unfair what she was doing to you. But I think you were just amazing on that show, standing up for people who believe in the right to life, to unborn children have a right to survive and live. Tell us where you stand on it. Let's clear things up. If there's anything you want to clear up from that interview, you're welcome to do it right here now.
Well, I was on the Sunday shows the week before, too, talking about this issue. It's important that we recognize that what the Supreme Court did is that they fixed a wrong decision from almost 50 years ago. Now they've returned this decision back to the states so that elected officials closer to the people will make the decision at home. Every state will look different. If you listen to the liberals, if you listen to these journalists, supposedly, on other networks, they're just not telling the truth. They're scaring people. And they're perpetuating lies, and our ability to go on there and to really share the truth, I think, is incredibly important. I talked extensively about the science and the technology that has shown us what these babies feel in the womb, but also why is nobody talking about, they talked extensively about this 10-year-old girl that was raped. Why is nobody talking about the horrific, horrible individual who raped her and talking about fixing those situations as well? And Dana and I, talked about South Dakota's law, the fact that we had a trigger law on the books and that it has an exemption for life of the mother. and that those decisions will still be made at the state level. That's what's powerful about our republic that we have. The foundation that our country is and stands on is that the power is closest to the people and lies at the state level.
Mm-hmm. Governor, agree with you. Always, I'm a libertarian. I believe all decisions should be made at the state level. I don't really see much need for a federal government. But speaking of people talking in federal government, there are a lot of people who floated your name, think it would be great for a Kristi Noem to be either a presidential candidate or a vice presidential candidate. I know you get this question all the time. Let me do it a little differently, though. Trump, DeSantis, Noem, what would be the most compelling argument for conservatives in America? What would be the two? President, Vice President, you pick the order, if you will.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really play in hypotheticals. What I've said, though, is that if President Trump runs, I certainly will support him. His policies were great for our country. I think that it's important that people recognize that leadership has consequences. All you have to do is go from state to state to see the consequences of who was sitting in that governor's office. And all of us should be evaluated by the decisions that we made. Those were unique times, unprecedented times, and in many of those decisions, I stood alone. But it was right for our Constitution. It was the right decision then and now, and South Dakota's thriving because of it. I'm so proud of our state and what we did together.
All right. I know. Now, is it a Noem DeSantis? DeSantis Noem? Would that be, if Trump decides not to, would that be interesting to you?
I have no idea. I'm running for re-election here to stay and be the governor of South Dakota. So I hope the people here want to keep me. I think we're thriving here and bringing a lot of hope to this country. And it would be incredible if I could get the opportunity to continue to serve the folks here.
Well, you are a very, very popular governor, and you would be a very, very popular ticket with any one of the people that we just mentioned. Before I let you go, I know that you're a hunter, and I've been told that recently you bagged a gator. Now, my question to you is yes or no, but and what did you do with it? Did you make anything with the gator skin?
Its head is sitting in my office, right on the coffee table in the middle of the room. So, yeah, it was pretty fun experience. It was fantastic. And, for a girl growing up on a ranch in South Dakota, we don't get to the swamp very often. So that was pretty fun to go have that experience and then to bring a little piece of him home to remind people that, watch out, things bite in this world, but we got to make good decisions. And when you do, you get the chance to celebrate a little success too.
Well, if you have about 34 inches of the skin, I may hit you up for some of that for a belt. Governor
awesome.
Kristi Noem, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Eric.